Alright, we're back. Sorry for the several days delay. This level I call the basement, or the bowels, or whatever. I guess this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. This room right here is based off of a room in episode 2, level 6. It's pretty much verbatim, except it's retextured. I clearly wanted to use the knife there and failed miserably. I stopped doing stupid stuff eventually. Not in this level though. But yeah, the placement of the guards I think is even identical to episode 2, level 6. There's a key area. It's probably the least interesting area of this level, at least for me. This texture, by the way, it was taken from Toten Graber. I don't know where it was originally from. Am I recording? Yes. Okay. And this one is from Spear of Destiny. So this map is just kind of a maze. It's kind of this empty basement feeling maze, and you're not really sure where to go. And that's sort of how I designed it. Like, started off not really knowing what I was gonna do, but just like giving, making a bunch of like pathways and something, and then making them one by one, and just sort of shaping the level that way. And I think it turned out kind of interesting. I don't know if this is like the most fun level. In fact, I would say it's not very fun, but it's kind of a neat theme. So this is the first key area, and I wanted it to feel like you were just kind of wandering aimlessly, without seeing many guys, and you're like, what's going on? And then you come upon this like area all of a sudden. Just what happens here. And there are a ton of guys. Yeah, this part always gives me trouble. I think I made it out of here alive, but unfortunately was not so lucky later on. But yeah, this map was designed pretty much without really a plan, just thinking of like what a sort of interesting sort of basement area would be like. And I think like those are the most interesting maps that I made a lot of the time, were the ones that were like original and just trying to come up with like spaces or themes that seemed interesting, but I wasn't like, more or less copying the original, which I definitely do a lot in this mod. So saving here. Yeah, and then the other way around is pretty much identical. But this area is like a completely unrequired area to go to, but I feel like a lot of people would stumble upon it just looking for the key, and it's actually pretty difficult. The funny thing about this map is a lot of parts that you're not required to go to are pretty hard to deal with. I know what's coming, so it's a little bit easier for me, although I sort of botched it up plenty of times. Oh yeah, there's a guy hidden behind an armor. That happens a lot. Not always. Oh my god, that sound is so annoying. God. Sometimes I play this game with the sound off. It's really... I know it's supposed to be blasphemous. You're supposed to hear the guard saying hot dog and stuff. This is another room. There are hanging skeletons. This is another one of those areas. I don't know, just like fleshing out the level, you come up with interesting little ideas, and so you pop out here. This is the other side. This is back in the central area where there are a lot of passageways sort of spidering out to go to, and I'm not sure where I'm going here. I think I wanted to... Oh, yeah. I wanted to explore more of the other areas before going to the one that I'm actually supposed to go to. But so this is the path that leads to the key, and it's very long and annoying. And it's hard to figure out where to go, even for me, as you'll see. I didn't look at the map beforehand, though, so maybe that has something to do with it. I did know that going right was the right way, though. Yeah, and the first key area is inside that. It's this sort of island surrounded by a bunch of mazes. There are a lot of dogs here. It's kind of confusing. Maybe it's also like episode 4, level 5, a little bit in feel, although more like not directly inspired, but like has sort of that feel, I guess. At least this area reminds me of that. But I like directly reference it in one of the levels very late in the mod, which is probably like the biggest level, and is definitely a real just behemoth. I don't know how to describe it. Oh, I have 1% again. Excellent. Pretty sure I die again here. Oh, I disabled... Usually in Wolfenstein you can drink the pools of blood, but here for some reason you can't. I don't know why I disabled that. That was kind of stupid. That was one of the cooler things about the game. So I managed to find health. This is, again, you see some of the cooler areas that are not required to go to in this level, which you'll probably go to. I mean, like, when you're designing something, you can't really predict what path someone's going to go on, especially when there are so many. Like, if there's one that looks obviously better than the other one, then they might go to that one, but you really have no indication. And you can, you know, sort of try to instruct people on where to go, but I don't know, part of the interesting thing about this game is that you're kind of making an arbitrary decision where to go anyway, and so like that's what I think makes a lot of the non-linear levels kind of appealing, is that your experience is different every time. And that's the case, you know, even with me when I play through this stuff. It's like, I die and then it's like, you know, I don't want to go back through all that stuff again. Like, let's just get what was required, you know, and get this done with. Of course, I'm doing a playthrough while I'm doing this, so maybe that has something to do with it. There's a huge secret here that requires... It seems pretty possible to me to find, though. If you just keep, you know, keep pressing your luck. Yeah, with all that health and stuff, I don't know how I die later on, but I do. And then I have a horrible mess up and a lot of other things happen. I definitely didn't do a very good job on this playthrough of this level, or level 3 really. But yeah, I don't know, this was the level where I feel like I first started getting actually excited about doing this, and not just like designing. I felt kind of obligated to design, like, you know, the first few levels, it's like the introductory levels, and for some reason I just saw that as a chore, and, you know, saw that as like making it so that I had to design boring levels because it was early on. Like, I couldn't design something interesting because I wanted to introduce that stuff later. Oh, there's the missile launcher. It's pretty hilarious looking. It's based off of it's based off of two things. There's an actual missile launcher in Wolfenstein that the boss carries, and that's part of the reason why I wanted it in this game, and also partly because it was just an extra feature that you could add. There's actually a pretty bad bug with it, but it's mostly on the highest difficulty, which I'm not playing on because the guards are too strong. But yeah, okay, this is where I save. Yeah, the missile launcher, that big blue thing is what the boss carries, auto gift mocker. But I mean, not exactly. It's kind of a cartoony version. It was done by Chris Chokin, who probably some of you watching may know. I was trying to have fun with it, and it's actually kind of hard to use, but it has some uses. I don't know. I think the problem is the guards tend to react too quickly to use it appropriately. The chain gun really is the most useful by far, as I found out later on. So this is where the second key is. Sort of maybe a weird stranded outpost area, I don't know. I don't try to think about these things too much in realistic terms. I think a lot of like Wolfenstein designers do, and I just find that kind of boring a lot of the time. I don't know, like I like the surrealness of the game. So I didn't save after I got the key, and I mess up here and forget where I'm going and then die eventually. Pretty soon. Very soon. Yeah, this is a sort of an additional maze area that is just there to confuse you and create like a more of an open environment, you know? It just goes beyond where you're required to go. I did not know that guy was there. Okay, stay tuned.